What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Back with the weekly vlogs. Today, we're actually gonna be diving into something that is, I would say, quite off the topic of what we typically post on this channel, but I think the time of the year, and then also too, the whole fact of just like, I know a lot of people that watch this channel has also struggled with this as well. And that's like, number one, just dating as a millionaire. In that sense right there, what's it like? What's the differences? I think a lot of people have a negative image of it. They just think of the old rich guy with the young girl who's simply there for just the money itself. And I'm by all means no expert, but I've learned a lot of things over the years. And today I want to dive into all of those things I've learned over the years to hopefully you guys don't have to make the same mistakes as me. So it's Valentine's Day this weekend, February the 14th. And like I said, at this time of the year, there's a lot of people who may be in a relationship, very happy, successful, like all those things. And there's gonna be just as many people who are, what I would say, not in a relationship. And I typically find that a lot more people in my particular industry that I'm in with this Facebook ads and marketing and stuff, there's a lot more people that are single, more, what I would say, closed off and, they've had issues before in the past, prior relationships and stuff like that. So, and the reason why I say that is because I was one of those people. I was one of those people that were shy, didn't really know how to operate a relationship, and like I said, made a lot of mistakes over my past couple of years. And when I do say that, hey, I'm no expert, the reason why I say I'm a no expert, because for me, I would say an expert to take advice from is someone who is married, who has kids, and who's also been in that particular relationship for an extended period of time, talking 15, 20 years right there. Those would be the best people to learn from, and also have a very successful marriage and stuff like that. Both partners are very fulfilled, happy, their kids are doing well and everything. Not a type of marriage or anything like that that's like on the brink of falling apart and have a bunch of issues that are not being currently discussed and stuff like that. But I would say, like I said, over the last couple of years, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've also grown with every particular date and relationship and stuff like that. And that's really what I want to dive into today's video. At the current time of making this video, I'm in a very happy relationship. We both love each other very much, and we've been together for now just over 7 months now. So, and a lot of that it can be attributed to the growth and the mistakes I've made in the past and the things I've learned that I'm hoping today to articulate in today's video so you don't make the same. So with that being said, before we actually start diving into that, we need to get a cigar, and that's where we're headed to right now. So, let's get a nice little cigar. See what we can find us today. I don't know what we want today. Won't be here for long, so probably just gonna get something sharp and sweet. I'll probably honestly go for something more like a Padron. I like the 1964s. These are perfect, like a quick little smoke, or just go with the big boy 1964s. These are also really solid. Padron 1964, good stick. These are also pretty cool. These Xenos, very good for people that are just getting into cigars. Also another really good stick. So, get you a Fat Bottom Betty. Fat Bottom Betties are also really solid sticks for new people. So, I've pretty much made all the mistakes as mentioned. Dated girls before who cheated on me, lied to me. The wrong particular girls who were clearly just there for like the money in that sense right there. And that's also where like the other part of this video is like dating as that high value guy at millionaire and like all the other things in your life and stuff. And I think high value guy is also another completely different video there, because just because you're a millionaire and just because you make money doesn't mean you are a high value guy. So, but that's a whole other video, which we could dive further into if you guys want. Just comment below. So, like I said, I don't have what I would say quote unquote perfect background, but what I can say is I did make a lot of mistakes, and every mistake I've made in the book always started off with, what can I learn from it in that sense? And for me, the biggest thing that I see with, at least where I was, and I see with so many people in the beginning stages, is not having any direction of what they want. They're kind of just going with the flow, talking to girls, dating girls, but it doesn't really go anywhere because they don't have a sense of direction of where they want to go in life. And not even necessarily where they want to go in life, but just what do they want to accomplish when it comes down to dating. I know guys who are just date girls and hookups and all that good stuff, and like that's what they want to do. And then also know guys that's like, hey, I want to get married and like all of those things. What I often find is that people who want to get married, they want to have kids in the long term, they get confused with the short-term thing and get distracted with the short-term thing that creates a lot of bad habits they actually have to unfuck to be able to go and, you know, get that thing with marriage, kids, and all those good things. So it's important in the beginning stages to first understand, like, long-term, 20 years from now, what do I want my life to look like? Do I want to still be dating around, having a variety of different girlfriends, doing hookup culture and all that stuff? Or do I want a wife? Do I want kids? You know, what does that day-to-day life look like with the wife and the kids? What are the activities we're going to do? What's the schooling we're going to do with them? You know, they're going to be in, like, going to church and stuff like that. What does all of those things look like? And when you map out that 20-year you from today of everything, the love, the health, the wealth, how much money you're making, what you're working like, what your work schedule looks like, including the wife and the kids and stuff like that, when you map that out 20 years from now, then everything that you do now is going to be steps towards that thing. So if you do want that, marriage, kids, and all that long term, hookups and like just dating random girls for no reason, that becomes useless of your time and a waste of your time, and it doesn't get you closer to that long-term thing. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I made in the beginning, because I was just dating around. I didn't really know, like, I wanted that thing, but I was getting distracted with the short-term thing, and I was doing the whole hookup culture just because that was the cool thing to do. And then I realized how sad it was and how, like, literally it destroys your soul at the end of the day. And that's the thing that pulled me away from it. It went more to start optimizing for that long-term thing there, which was marriage, kids, and all that stuff, which I'm working towards. And that's what creates my actions on a day-to-day basis moving forward. So once you actually start setting out for that vision, right? You know, you identify that 20-year vision and you start working and progressing towards that 20-year vision. You have to think of everything as almost more of like your actions create outcomes right there. So what you do creates an outcome, and outcomes for me is always going to be things like money and also to girls. The reason why I say that is because these are things that when you take actions, these are things that are going to be byproducts of those actions. So when I think about like looking at my 20-year vision and the thing that I'm trying to accomplish and stuff, the first thing I want to start looking at is like my health and my wealth right there. This is where I actually want to start building the business or building the thing that's going to carry me financially. And then I want to keep building up that health as well, you know, to create the body I want basically in 20 years from now as well. The reason why I say focus on these things first, because these are the things that's going to create the various different passions you have in your life, the interests you have in your life and stuff like that. You know, as you start building the business, you can like actually start financially supporting yourself and everything. And there's a certain level of like financial safety too, that also like helps you out with like building a family and building, you know, your life up and stuff. And then if you go back to like the health side as well, it's like this also where you create some interest. It's going to get you around more people. It's going to go to the gym. Maybe you start like in a running club or something like that. Maybe boxing like I do and stuff. These are all going to start opening you up to just meeting people. It may not even necessarily be women, but it may be just exploring more friends and building more friendships that also creates you more pockets of people that you can meet up into and potentially go to like events and stuff like that, which again puts you in the right rooms. Now, I say all that because if you just go directly and be like, hey, I want to make money, and you just focus on making money, you know, you're not really going to have actions to take in that sense right there. Or if you just focus on getting girls, like you'll get girls, but it won't be the right kind of girls that you want to align with your vision and everything. So it's more so focusing on the actions that's going to build that vision, and then all the other stuff starts to fall in place based off the person you become. There's a certain level of money you'll make based off the person you become. There's a certain caliber of girl you'll get, woman you'll get, based off the person you become. So when you start focusing on building yourself up first, all of those other things will fall in place. But now, as you start becoming that person, the real question is, how do you sort and filter out the right type of people that's going to help you go along that vision, and the wrong type of people that's going to deteriorate you from that vision, or pull you away from that vision. And that's what we're going to hop into next. So now that you understand the vision, you understand about building yourself up and everything, now you have like criteria in the sense of like the people you date in that sense. And this is where it really all like flipped around for me. Because again, in the beginning, I was just kind of dating randomly. I was dating with no direction and stuff like that. But now, once you understand where you want to go, who you're becoming, and the vision that you're working on building, you need the right type of people in your life. And this is not just from dating. This is also to the friends you keep around. This is the the types of people that you associate yourselves with. Like, all of these people help you out with that long-term vision right there. If you're hanging out with people, like, for example, let's say you want to build this big business and stuff like that, and all you're hanging out with is people who are like getting drunk every night and completely against like work and building up yourself and stuff like that, it's gonna be very hard for you to actually like become that thing that you're wanting to grow into. So kind of the same thing when you're actually dating and stuff. If you're hanging out or dating girls who and going on dates with girls and stuff, and the person they are today is how you have to judge that person. The person and their habits they have right now is how you have to judge them of whether or not this person falls into that long-term vision right there. So if you're trying to say, for example, build this relationship, and you're trying to get married, have kids, and like partying, for example, it's just something that you don't really value, right? Not necessarily you're against it, you just don't really value it. Like for me, like I'm not against partying. I might have my once a month party in that sense, but for the most part, like it's not really something that like I'm interested in. It's not something I do every night. And long term, it's just not something I don't really value at all. So same thing here. Like if you feel that same way and you date a girl who literally goes out 3-4 nights a week, parties and drinks and gets wasted in that sense right there, then that particular person is not going to be in line with where you're trying to go. They may say they want that, they may say they want marriage, they may say they want kids and stuff, but you have to judge people based off their habits now. And this was a huge shift for me, and a mistake I made dozens of times where dating the wrong girls with the wrong habits. And what will essentially happen there is that they have the wrong habits, and then I want this, and these habits they have upset me, but yet, hey, she's giving me attention, yet, hey, she's going on dates with me. And it's that short-term like happiness right now, false sense of happiness of being with someone and having someone to hang out with. But that's the thing that distracts so many people. And again, a mistake I've made a lot in dating, where it's like, hey, I want this thing, this person showing me attention, maybe one day she'll want that thing, let me keep showing her attention, keep giving her attention, keep going on dates with her, when reality is that her habits right now do not even align with that long-term thing that I'm looking for right there. And this distracts you, this keeps you off course, this keeps you adds more time from you finding that person that you can build that relationship with and build that vision with. And that's what you have to be looking for. So you have to look at what are the what I would say non-negotiable habits that they have to have, and then what are the habits that it's like, hey, maybe this is like not the greatest habit, or like not a habit that I value or like enjoy, but like it's not a non-negotiable. Non-negotiables are things that, like, if she has this thing, then that's it, like I can't do it. And that's where you end that particular date or that particular relationship if that does not serve that longer term vision right there. And that made it a lot more easier for me to actually go ahead and start dating with intention. And that's the key word there, dating with intention. And allow you to filter out these things or these people that don't align with your long-term vision. And notice how I'm saying just don't align. I'm not necessarily saying, hey, these are necessarily bad people if they don't align with my long-term vision. It's just like it's a sales call. We'll have to turn down a lot of prospects at my agency and my coaching program because they don't meet the criteria for which makes a great prospect. Are those technically bad people? No, they're not bad people at all. They just don't fit the criteria we need to get them the best results, because if we would take them on, we wouldn't be able to get them results, and 30, 60 days later they'll be asking for their money back because we didn't get them results. And it's our duty, for the vision we have with that brand and the vision that we're helping these people make that transformation with, it's our duty to be the person that gatekeeps, in a way, of not allowing certain people to join the program. And that's the same thing we're doing with dating. We're just simply filtering out the wrong people from the right people, and in the right people, those are the people that we're associating ourselves, giving ourselves more attention to. One of my favorite things that one of my mentors told me a while back, which was, hey, you only have to be right once. Unlike business and business and stuff, where you have to constantly keep selling yourself and constantly having to keep going and pitching people and sorting people out. With dating, you only really have to technically be right once in that sense to be able to, get that vision, unlock that vision and stuff with that person that wants to share it with you and stuff. Now that you're aware of these habits and stuff, I really want to kind of dive more into those actual habits itself, at least the ones I've seen. Again, we've already kind of made an example right there with like partying and stuff like that. I know that's a big one. Like, at least for me, I place value in that. Don't necessarily, want to be with a person that's going out and partying multiple times a week and stuff. Like, it's just a huge drain for me in that sense. But like other things, especially too when you're dating as a high value man or a man that, has money in that sense, you also have to look at not necessarily just their habits of what they do on a day-to-day basis, but also the habits of which they, talk to you and the different things they do with you. If they only text you when, hey, I want to go out and get some food, like, hey, they're probably using you for something. I remember one time I went on a date with a girl. First date was, good. Like, it wasn't bad at all. And I was like, cool, like, I can see myself going on another date with this particular person. Went on the second date, and we actually never even made it to the second date, to be fair. But this one particular person, like, I had some stuff come up with like traveling and stuff, so I was like, hey, I just want to stay in, I'll cook us some food tonight, no big deal. For those who know, my cooking's good. So anyway, long story short, this particular person was just like, oh wait, I thought we were gonna go out, and like literally got upset that we weren't going to go out to a restaurant and eat somewhere and like go grab drinks and stuff. And like, I was like, okay, hey, if that's the thing, if that's a deal breaker for us, shouldn't continue on at all. And like ended it like literally over the next text. So those are things right there of like little habits that not just necessarily, hey, does she go to the gym? Hey, does she eat certain way? For those who value fitness and stuff. It also comes down to the habits of which, like, she operates with you. How does she talk to you? How does she, when does she text you? When does she talk to you? How does she talk to you? What are those little habits right there? That's going to be the big things too that you have to really be thinking about when dating, to make sure that you're, again, only associating yourself with the right ones in that sense. All right, so now that you have your vision set out for what you're trying to accomplish over the next 20 years, you can crystally see what your life looks like in 20 years from now. You see your wife, you see your kids, you see how much money you make, you see how much like shit you do on a day-to-day basis, what your day-to-day life look like. And also keep in mind, this is something that like I've been practicing for over 2 years now, and every day I'm constantly thinking about it. So in the beginning stages of like when you start doing that, you're not really gonna see much in that sense. You'll probably put like some very vague things down, but as you consistently keep tweaking it and like thinking about it, it gets more clearer in your mind and stuff. So when you think about that 20 years vision now from yourself, just understand in the beginning it won't be as clear as now, and it's okay if you constantly kind of optimize it. Once you have that vision, you're working on progressing towards it, you're building yourself up, you're becoming quote unquote high value, what a lot of people like to call them and everything, and you're in this, what I would say, mission to accomplish this thing. You're starting to make some money, getting a little bit fitter and stuff, you're starting to, kind of get some girls around you and stuff, you're starting to talk to them particular girls and everything like that, going on dates, you're using that now as your qualification criteria now. But maybe you're still kind of struggling on the actual meeting the girl aspect. For me personally, I'm very against dating apps. I'm very against sliding into DMs on Instagram and stuff like that. Why? Because I've seen plenty of studies online of like, if you go create like a Tinder profile as like a woman, for example, over like the first 24 hours, you're gonna have a couple hundreds, guys like swiping up, and she has to go through all of those particular things. Whereas like a dude, if he goes create an Instagram or a Tinder profile, he's gonna get like no matches pretty much all, and he has to go do a bunch of swipes and then here and there get a match. As a dude, you're constantly kind of like chasing in that sense, and you're constantly going through of like trying to find and sifting through these people. Whereas like a girl, she gets overwhelmed of hundreds of matches, and like she just basically kind of zones out and like not responds to any of those people. So like dating apps are just highly inefficient in that sense. For me, I've always been about meeting people in public and everything. I first started off on dating apps, and I got frustrated with those dating apps, and I'm extremely shy. So like for me, going out and meeting people in public was a very, very like, just horrific idea. Like I was extremely scared to doing it, but just consistently forcing myself to just take a little bit of actions of opening up conversations with strangers. I just got better and better and better at it. And that's actually how I met my current girlfriend now. And I think the last 2 or 3 girls I've actually dated as well was through meeting the person. But, my favorite one is how me and my current girlfriend met, where, we were at an event and stuff, opened up the conversation with her. And then, we actually got in luck because I didn't even get her number the first time we met. And by faith of God, literally by faith of God, because at that event we met, we talked for about 2 minutes. I didn't get her number or anything like that. And I basically just was like, all right, God, if like it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I know you'll put her back in my life. And actually 2 days later, she came up as a friend suggestion on Facebook, and we have no mutual friends or anything like that. So I added her as a friend, reached out to her and just said, hey, like, were you so-and-so at the event? Turned out to be her. And, we went on a date, and our very first date, like 3-hour conversation at a coffee shop. It was amazing. I've just been a big fan of meeting people in public. It's a lot better than trying to be on these apps, dating apps and stuff like that. And then, a lot of guys are just like, all right, well, where do I go? How do I meet people in public? Well, again, if you're building yourself up, you're going after a vision, you're going to start having like interests and hobbies and stuff that you just start doing. And through those things right there, you'll just naturally be put in front of more people and stuff. Go, even at a low level, go to a coffee shop for a little while alone. Go start a conversation with a stranger. It don't even have to be a girl. It could just be like the person, barista, whatever, that's working at the coffee shop, for example. Just start conversations up normally. Hey, how's your day going? Like that's the easiest opener. Like you can literally go up to anyone and they'll start talking about their day, because people love talking about themselves. So even at a very low level, just start off with that. You have to be somewhat socially like adjusted though, because you don't just go up to someone who's like in the middle of a workout as they're like running or lifting weights and being like, hey, how's your day going? Like no one's gonna fucking reply to that. So like, you have to like be socially adjusted a little bit enough just to understand kind of social cues of like when to start that conversation and stuff like that. But keep it simple. Literally just walk up to that person, hey, how's your day going? You look good, etc. Give them a little compliment, and then, get a little small talk there. Obviously I don't want to make this channel a game channel in the sense of how to do game and all that, but that's just at least what's worked in the past for me. And all the fear in my mind of made up scenarios of how horribly things would go wrong with talking to strangers and stuff like that, not one has ever happened to me. So that was a quick big realization for me right there. But yeah, so go to places and stuff that you just naturally have interested in. Only go and like do these things with the intent of like, hey, I want to enjoy that for myself. Then if I do meet someone there, great, but like I'm not going to somewhere just to meet someone. So for example, if you hate coffee shops but you love something else, do that thing. Don't go to coffee shops and put yourself in situations of coffee shops just to meet girls when you hate coffee shops in general, because you're going to go there purely with just the idea of this one outcome, and it won't happen, and then you're going to be frustrated with it. You need to naturally love the places you go to already, and then from there, like, be okay with going to do it alone. Like I went eat like lunch and dinner, many different places. I love sushi. I've gone to plenty of sushi bars and stuff like that by myself. And just be okay with the idea of being there by yourself, regardless if you have one of your boys with you or not. And it's going to make it a lot more fun of an experience, because when you go with people you already know, like if you and your boys go eat sushi together every Thursday night and you expect to meet someone, it's going to be a lot more difficult because of the fact of, oh, well, hey, I'm already used to these people, and you're going to naturally just kind of close yourself off with those people versus being open to the idea of certain conversations with strangers and stuff like that. So, but that was a huge help for me on that part right there, that just improved the quality a lot compared to what I would say, going after like what I would say like dating apps and stuff. And it's just a lot more no hate if you are using a dating app. I'm just, again, just not the best compared to like what you can just go out in public and do. So you got your vision, you got your standards, you got your, you're working on accomplishing that vision, you got your day-to-day actions and stuff. And then you also got your qualification criteria now of who you can accept with. And then now you understand actually how to meet these people and stuff. Go do the things that you already love and everything, and be open to the idea of meeting someone and doing it alone as well. So that way you're not necessarily constantly surrounded by friends and stuff like that. That's going to deteriorate you from possibly opening up that conversation. Now you're meeting people. As far as like that initial conversation with someone, keep it short and keep it sweet. I know me and my girlfriend met, like literally my opener was just like, hey, we were at a charity event. I just asked her if this was like the first time she's ever been to this charity event. Hey, is this your first time or second time coming here, to this event? And that's how our conversation started. And just talked a little bit about, hey, what's your name? So-and-so, where are you from? What brings you here? Cool, like very chill. And then we closed the conversation off. In that instance right there, the only thing I did mess out on was the number part, but I would just simply ask in that situation if I wanted to redo it, which I don't at all. If I did want to redo it, I would just simply ask, hey, what's your number? Love to grab some coffee with you sometimes. Notice I'm saying, what's your number? Would love to grab coffee with you sometime, because that's the whole intention of why I'm grabbing the number. I'm not saying, hey, what's your number? Get her number, and then I'm trying to like open up the idea of getting coffee with her over the number. It's, hey, would love to grab some coffee sometime with you. What's your number? That way, when I get her number, I can just immediately text her and solidify when we're gonna grab that coffee. I'm a huge fan of coffee dates as well. The first date, keep it super simple. Make it to where I love just a quick coffee or a quick drink. Do not do dinner. Don't do anything crazy commitment where it's like a 4-hour bike ride over this portion of the world that you want to. Keep it very simple, because when it's super like a lot of pressure to go on that date, then it's a more like unlikely that the person's going to commit through it and stuff. So keep it simple, keep it just like the coffee, and that way a coffee can be as simple as 5-10 minutes if it's not going good, or it can be like with me and my girlfriend, we had a 3-hour conversation when we had our coffee, which was phenomenal right there. So you never know if it's going to be a 5 to 10 minute coffee or a 3-hour. If the person's fun to hang out with, y'all are getting in good conversations, and that first kind of date right there is more of the qualification right there of like, okay, hey, this is the vision I'm trying to accomplish. I should be able to start getting some cues here of whether or not this person fits that vision. I wouldn't recommend telling her the whole vision right then and there, but you should be able to start off with some light conversation and flow and start getting into more of those qualification questions right there, to where you can figure out if like, okay, hey, is this someone that I can potentially see myself with? Is this someone that I do want to go on another date with? And again, the qualification questions is going to be built off that 20-year vision right there of what's going to allow you to determine whether or not you want to go on that second date. But yeah, I mean, that's really just a big part of it right there, of setting that vision. Start working on yourself. Start looking at the habits of people, not the words they say. Habits will tell you everything. Who they are right then and there. That's the person you judge based off who they are then. Never make the mistake of trying to change someone. I've made that mistake in the past of trying to change people. It doesn't work out at all. And that was a big thing for me. So don't try to change people. Who they are is who they are right now. And are they on track, and are they doing the things to day-to-day basis that aligns with where you're trying to go? And then the other thing right there of actually meeting people, keeping the conversation light in the beginning. You can literally say whatever to someone as a stranger. You don't have to worry about some clever opener or things like that that a lot of people in the game space like to fascinate over. Just literally start a normal conversation off. And all of that's going to make you significantly better, I would say, quote unquote, dating. And just some of the mistakes I've made that I wish a lot of you guys don't have to, make the same as well as me. And I would say probably the only last thing is like, I'll come back. I've recently in the last year really started opening up my religious background and stuff. Having that faith, having that trust in God also helps out a ton right there. I don't want to kind of push that on y'all for those who are not into that type of thing, but I know that was big for me and really helped, change up a lot of how I was approaching dating as well. So, but yeah. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope this helps y'all out. I'm curious from you guys, is there any like dating advice that you took in the past that was just terrible and like you never want to make that mistake again? Or maybe there's something that I didn't hit on this video that you think would be super valuable for the other people. Drop a comment below. Love to hear from you guys. Thank you all for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for new vlogs every Thursday at 10 a.m. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.